There comes a moment in every life when the noise finally quiets, when the rush slows down, and you're left alone with one question you've spent years avoiding. What truly mattered? This is the story of Daniel, a man who lived fast, chased everything, and held on to nothing, until life forced him to see the lesson it had been whispering to him all along. Daniel was the type of person who believed momentum was the same as meaning. He woke before sunrise, opened his laptop before opening his mouth to say good morning, and measured his worth by unread emails, missed calls, and looming deadlines. Every day was a checklist, a race, a performance that never ended. He wasn't a bad person, just misaligned. And misalignment is quiet. It doesn't shout. It hums beneath your days, like a low vibration you ignore until it becomes a dull ache, until you forget there was ever another way to live. He always said things like, "I'll spend time with them when things settle. I'll rest once I've made it. I'll show up when life gets easier." But life never got easier. It just kept moving, and he kept running, convinced the finish line would finally reward him for the pieces he sacrificed along the way. One evening, Daniel received 3 messages within the same hour. The first is from his boss. "Need you to revise the proposal tonight. Deadline moved to tomorrow morning." The second was from an old friend. "We're in town just for today. Come out for dinner?" The third was from his mother. "Doctor says results look concerning. Can we talk?" Without thinking, without pausing, without breathing, Daniel chose the same way he always did. Work first. Everything else, later. He typed an apologetic note to his friend. He ignored his mother's message, telling himself he'd call after he submitted the proposal. Then he opened his laptop, and the world around him faded. Hours passed. Screens glowed like artificial suns. Stress coiled around his shoulders like steel bands. The words in the proposal blurred together, lifeless, meaningless letters swimming across the page. At midnight, he finally hit send. Exhausted, he reached for his phone, planning to call his mother, only to see a message from his sister. "Call me as soon as you can. Mom collapsed. She's in the hospital." His chest tightened. Time seemed to stop. Reality, for the first time in a long time, pierced through his tunnel vision like a blade. He rushed to the hospital. Every red light felt like a punishment. Every second in traffic felt like a reminder. You waited. You always wait. And now you might be too late. When Daniel finally arrived, his sister sat with her head in her hands. She looked up at him, not angry, not surprised, just tired. "She kept asking if you were coming," she said quietly. She waited as long as she could. The doctor approached and Daniel braced himself. His mother would recover, but her condition was serious, and they had caught it later than ideal. If she had acted earlier, if he had responded earlier, things might have been different. Daniel sat beside her hospital bed that night, watching her breathe, her hands small and fragile against the blanket. He whispered, "I'm sorry, Mom. I really am." She opened her eyes just enough to give him the soft, tender smile only mothers know how to give. "Daniel, you're always busy, but I'm glad you're here now." Her words weren't accusatory, they were grateful. And somehow that made it hurt even more, because he realized something brutal. The people who love you will forgive you again and again, until one day they can't. Not because they're angry, but because time runs out. Daniel didn't change overnight. Life doesn't transform with a single moment. But that night planted a seed. In the weeks that followed, he began noticing the small things he used to run past. His sister dropping by to bring their mother groceries. His father leaving voicemail reminders to drink water. His friends sending invitations he always declined. His mother smiling through fatigue, telling him stories he had heard a dozen times but never really listened to. He realized that the life he had been racing toward was far less meaningful than the one he kept walking away from. Slowly, he began saying yes to the things he was to postpone. Lunch with his mother every Sunday, a walk with his sister, a weekend away with friends, phone calls that didn't multitask, moments that didn't measure productivity. He didn't work less. He just rearranged the hierarchy of his heart, and it changed everything. Months later, Daniel received a message from his boss. "Need you to take a last-minute call with a client tonight." He stared at it for a long moment. Then his mother called. "I made your favorite dish," she said. "Come over if you can." He breathed deeply, And this time, he chose differently. He messaged his boss, "I can do the call tomorrow morning. Tonight, I'm with family." Then he grabbed his keys. He wasn't choosing irresponsibility. He was choosing life. Because the lesson he learned, far later than he should have, was this: everything you chase will have replacements, but the people you love don't. Work will wait, achievements will age, money will come and go, but moments, the small ones, the quiet ones, are the currency life never refunds. Daniel walked into the kitchen that evening and saw his mother smiling as she stirred the pot. And for the first time, he truly understood. A fulfilled life isn't built from what you earn. It's built from what and who you show up for. The lesson life teaches too late is that priorities aren't found in your schedule. They're found in your heart. And if you don't guard them, the world will choose for you. So choose now. Choose while you still can. Choose before you learn the lesson the hard way. You don't get more time, but you do get choices. Make the right ones.